Justification by faith. I was a boy. I grew up in a very godly family in northwestern Ohio, born in Findlay in 1930. And I grew up in this family until I got into school, and I wanted to be like my playmates, and I hated the path of my fathers. I kicked the soccer ball crooked, and I cussed like they cussed because I wanted everyone in my class to know that I was like them. I wasn't like my godly parents. But as time went on, life became more complicated for me, as it seemed like the teachers were against me, my parents were against me, everybody was against me, and I couldn't understand it. And about this time, I was about 12 years old, in 1942, a young pastor came to the little chapel over near Van Loo at St. Paul's Church, and he began a revival. I said, how boring, how awful. The thing was, I read a lot of novels, all the time reading a novel, and so I went to the church, and I sat in the back corner, and I read my novel to try to pass the time, ignoring everything. And notwithstanding, one night, they gave a hymn out, and they started to sing the hymn of all to Jesus I surrender. And when they sang that song, a tear came on my left cheek, and I was too embarrassed to wipe it. I didn't want anybody to see it, to think that I was religious. I got up and walked outside in the cold, and I looked up and I said, God, if you're calling me, call somebody else. I'm an atheist. I went home, laid down on my bed, and as I laid in my bed that night, God began to deal with my heart, and he showed me that it wasn't that my teachers were bad with me, my parents were bad with me, that I was the most rebellious kid in the whole school. And I hadn't even noticed. And I couldn't sleep, and I rolled, and I tumbled, and night after night, several nights went by. Finally, I couldn't stand it any longer. And I said about 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe it was, I said, and I'm going to give my heart to Jesus tonight in the revival meeting. And I went all day long, comfortable, slept the 2 hours that I had left or so, and I got up a little closer to the front where I could get out of the bench and go forward, and they sang the song. Everybody was standing, and they sang the song, and I stood, and I couldn't move. One verse, all the verses, I couldn't move 1 foot ahead of the other. And I went out of the church, and I said, what happened to me? I had decided, and yet I couldn't do anything. Have I sinned the unpardonable sin, or what is that? I heard there is such a thing. I don't know what it is. And so I rolled and I tumbled all night long. And in the middle of the tumbling, the Lord said to me, remember how that you're getting ready to make your New Year's resolutions. And every year you make your resolutions and you can't even keep one of them all day long. You break them all the first day. And I said, oh, I see. If I went forward and I said, I received Jesus, or I give my heart to Jesus, and the next day been in the same dirty jokes and all that with my friends, oh, what a terrible thing that would be. I understand. Well, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I was thoroughly confused. But we finally were rolling up to the last night in the 3 weeks. And I felt like that God impressed me that if I didn't respond to him when he was calling, I never would. I never would by my own. I'd lose my soul. And yet I said, here I am. I might live many years, but maybe I'm losing my soul this night. And I was so perturbed, and I was so afraid I'd manifest some emotion. And I was so ashamed of Jesus before men. But I stood there, went forward and sat on the first bench that there wasn't any people, and all the rest of the congregation behind me. And so when they stood up for the invitation, I stood up and I started to weep, because this was maybe the night I was losing my soul. I didn't know what to do. And I put my shoulders up as high as I could, and I put my head down as low as I could. And I was weeping, and I said, oh, I hope this time gets passed fast. I hope nobody sees this. This is so embarrassing. I felt something on my arm, and the preacher came up and he spoke to me, and he said, Wayne, why don't you go forward, give your heart to Jesus? I said, I want to, but I can't resist the kids I go to school with. He said, well, to show your interest, and he went off. I said, this is awful. I was hoping nobody would notice, and now every eye just pointed right at me. The embarrassment can't be worse. And so I went forward, I knelt down there, and I began to pray. And the first thing that came to my mind, never had come to me before, said, God, as soon as I can get away from school, graduate from school, and go where nobody knows me, I'm going to serve you. And when I said that, I thought it was such a good idea, but there was a pain came in my spirit that I thought would kill me. I couldn't stand the pain. And I cried out, I said, oh God, help me. And as I cried out, it seemed like the Lord gave me words that I didn't know existed. I said, God, you know everything I've ever done in my whole life. I don't have anything to recommend me, only that Jesus died for me. And I said, God, if I'm going to serve you, I thought a little while, and the Lord gave me more words. God, if I'm going to serve you, you have to do everything. I can't resist my neighbors, my friends. It's impossible. You'll have to do that for me. You'll have to do everything for me. Then another thought came in my mind. I said, God, you know how I get angry? I got angry and threw my mother to the floor. I said, if you don't take this anger out of me, well, I can't, you'll have to do everything for me. I can't do it. And then I thought a little more, and the Lord gave me some more words. And I said, oh God, look at me. Look at my situation. I need to forgive, to get forgiven. And I can't forgive. Look at all this in my heart. I can't take it. You'll have to take it out for me. I can't take it out. Then I came another thought to me, and I says, God, look at all this rebellion. I'm the most rebellious person in the world. You'll have to take this away. I can't serve you if I don't. The Bible says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. We must come to God that way. And as I came that way, and I noticed that the pain, there was the voice of God just got sort of sweeter and sweeter. As we draw nigh to God, He'll draw nigh to us, and it got sweeter until I cried out spontaneously because the sweetness of the presence of God, oh God, not my will, but thine be done. And at that time, I noticed the pain was gone, and I stood up as everybody else had finished praying. About 20 minutes had gone by, and I started back 4 steps. The 4th step to go back to my seat, the presence of the living Jesus fell on me until I couldn't breathe. It was so glorious. I said, God, if you bless me, Mas, if you bless me more, it'll kill me. And I went home that night, and I slept so wonderfully after so many nights that I couldn't sleep until the first sleep went by. And when I woke up, I thought the most horrible thing, the presence of God had left me, the most precious thing. No, it was still there. I went to the school all the next day. By the joy of the Lord only is our strength. And by the next day I came home, and I had still had the communion with the Lord. And I got down by my bed and I prayed, oh God, I want to serve you. I'm just a kid, but I want to serve you. Oh, I want to serve you. And as I prayed like that, I felt blessed. Several nights went by that way. Finally, the Lord gave me another word. I said, oh God, I want to serve you, Father. I want to suffer for you. And when I prayed like that, more blessing yet. Finally, after several nights, one more time, the Lord gave me another word, and I changed my whole prayer. I says, oh God, I want to serve you. I want to suffer for you. I want to die for you. And the presence of God was so great. I thought I just couldn't stand it, not to be all in glory. I said, oh God, just take me on to glory. I want to do everything you want to do, but as soon as you can, take me to glory. And God took away every fear of death and has kept me till the present day, because I am nothing. I have no works. All I have is Jesus. And so the resurrection